The text message arrived during harvest. Mom's words glowed on my phone screen while I stood between rows of Cabernet Sauvignon, the September sun warm against my neck. Sold your empty lot for $800,000. You're welcome. Developer closes in 30 days. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened the county assessor's portal on my phone. The filing appeared within minutes. Application for commercial rezoning, Parcel 847-22-0194. My parcel. My land. The same 12 acres Mom had called your dirt hobby for 8 years. The grapes hung heavy on the vines around me, weeks from perfect ripeness. The soil beneath my boots, rocky, well-drained, south-facing, had taken 3 years to properly amend. I could smell the earthiness mixed with the sweet beginning of fermentation from the early varietals we'd already brought in. My vineyard manager, Carlos, approached with the day's sugar readings. I nodded at his numbers, still staring at my phone. Problem? He asked. My mother just sold the vineyard to a strip mall developer. His weathered face didn't change. She can't do that. I know. I returned to the tasting room we'd built 2 years ago. Timber frame, salvaged barn wood, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the valley. The same tasting room where Mom had sniffed. Wine tourism? In this area? Good luck with that. We'd hosted 1,427 visitors last season. The guest book sat on the bar, filled with signatures from 12 countries. I pulled up the developer's filing documents. Barton Commercial Properties. Their architect had already designed the strip mall. 22 retail units, 2 restaurants, 340 parking spaces. The rendering showed my tasting room demolished. The century-old oak where we held summer concerts. Gone. The terraced slopes where Pinot Noir had finally, after 6 years of careful cultivation, produced award-worthy fruit, paved. My phone rang. Did you get my text? Aren't you going to thank me? How did you sell property you don't own? Don't be dramatic. Your father co-signed your original purchase loan 8 years ago. We're still on the title. It's basically ours anyway. She wasn't on the title. I'd refinanced 4 years ago, paid off every cent, removed both their names. I had the recorded deed in my fire safe. But explaining this would require showing my hand. When's closing? I asked. October 15th. The developer's doing all cash over asking. I already told your brother he's getting half. He needs it for his cryptocurrency thing. My brother's cryptocurrency thing had lost $90,000 of their retirement fund last year. This was replenishment strategy. What about the grapes? Mom laughed. Honey, you're 34 years old plain farmer on land that should be making real money. This is us helping you grow up. I thought about the moment I'd decided to stop seeking their approval. 7 years ago, sitting in their living room showing them my business plan. Dad had glanced at the first page, revenue projections, soil analysis, market research, and said, winemaking isn't for people like us. You'll embarrass yourself. Mom had added, find a good husband. That's a woman's real investment. That night I'd sat in my apartment and realized something. Their narrative mattered more to them than my reality. I could succeed beyond measure and they'd still call it failure because the story of my incompetence served them better than the truth of my achievement. I hung up and called my attorney. They forged your signature? Miranda asked. Probably. Or they're claiming some ancestral right. Either way, they don't own it. Let me pull the title history. While Miranda worked, I monitored the county system. The developer had filed for permits, zoning changes, environmental review waivers. They were moving fast. Barton Commercial had political connections. Their previous projects included the mayor's cousin's shopping center and 2 city council members' mixed-use developments. The county assessor's name appeared on several documents. Richard Chin. I knew Richard. Not well, but enough. 3 years ago, his daughter's wedding had been held at our vineyard. They'd chosen us over 4 other venues because his wife said the view made her cry. They'd served our rose at the reception. Richard had personally thanked me, saying his daughter still talked about dancing under our oak tree. I didn't contact him. That would seem like leverage, like calling in a favor. Said I waited. Miranda called back within an hour. You're the sole owner. Deed recorded 4 years ago. Whatever they signed, it's fraudulent. Don't file anything yet, I said. Why not? Let them commit fully. This is what people misunderstand about revenge. It's not rage. It's patience sharpened into strategy. It's watching someone dig until they can't climb out, then handing them a longer shovel. Over the next week I watched the filings multiply. Barton Commercial hired contractors, scheduled demolition, applied for 12 separate permits. Mom texted updates. Developer says we close early. October 8th. And your brother already picked out his new Tesla. I documented everything. Screenshots, recorded conversations, forwarded emails. Mom sent a group text to the extended family. Finally convinced Emma to sell her empty lot. $800,000. Some of us know how to make real money. Aunt Teresa replied with applause emojis. Cousin Michelle. About time she got serious. The ghost ledger started forming in my mind, though I wouldn't write it down until later. 8 years of dismissed passion. The original land purchase. Dad saying, "You're throwing your money into dirt." Every harvest. Mom's comments about Emma's little grape hobby. The first vintage. Winemaking is for rich people with real jobs, honey. My sister's wedding where they'd served cheap Prosecco instead of my award-winning Blanc de Blancs because no one would notice the difference. The evening before closing I finally called Miranda. File everything. Tonight. She submitted the emergency injunction at 8:47 p.m. Title fraud, forged documentation, unauthorized sale of real property. The complaint included certified copies of my deed, the refinancing records, and a notarized statement that I'd never authorized the sale. At 9:15 p.m., the county clerk's automated system flagged the conflict. 2 claims on the same parcel. The October 8th closing was automatically suspended pending review. At 9:20 p.m., Richard Chen's office received the conflict notification. As county assessor, all commercial property transfers crossed his desk for final valuation approval. I imagine him seeing the address. 12 acres, south-facing slopes, parcel 847-22-0194. Recognition would have been immediate. His daughter's wedding venue. The vineyard with the oak tree. At 6:30 a.m. the next morning my phone rang. Unknown number. Miss Torres? This is Richard Chen, County Assessor. I have some questions about a commercial filing on your property. Pie property? I kept my voice confused. I didn't file anything commercial. That's what I need to clarify. The application states the land is vacant, undeveloped. But our agricultural records show active vineyard operations, commercial winery license, tourism permits. The parcel has state agricultural preservation status. It's registered with the California Wine Institute. You won the Central Coast Sustainability Award last year. All correct, I said. Silence. Then, who filed this strip mall application? I believe my mother. Another pause. Does your mother own this property? No, sir. I see. His voice had changed. Professional distance replacing friendly recognition. Miss Torres, I'm going to need complete documentation. This filing contains multiple false statements to county authorities. That's a serious matter. I emailed him everything within 10 minutes. Deed, tax records, business licenses, agricultural permits, the emergency injunction Miranda had filed. At 8 a.m., Richard called the scheduled closing meeting. Mom, Dad, my brother Ryan and Barton Commercial's principals gathered at the title company. They brought champagne. I wasn't there, but the title company was legally required to record the meeting. I obtained the transcript later. Title officer, before we proceed, I need to inform you that this closing is suspended. The county assessor has flagged significant irregularities. What irregularities? We own the property. Title officer, the deed shows Emma Torres as sole owner as of 4 years ago. Do you have documentation showing otherwise? The recording captured 20 seconds of silence. Dad, we co-signed the original purchase. Title officer, that loan was satisfied and refinanced in 2021. Your names were removed from title at that time. Ryan, this is a mistake. Emma agreed to this. Title officer, do you have written authorization from Ms. Torres? More silence. Then a new voice. I'm Richard Chen, County Assessor. I have additional concerns. The recording captured the rustle of papers. Richard, this application describes the property as vacant land. The county's records show an operating vineyard with 12 acres under cultivation, a commercial winery, a tasting room and active agricultural tourism. The property holds state agricultural preservation status, which legally prohibits commercial development. It's registered with the Wine Institute. It won the 2024 Central Coast Sustainability Award for Environmental Stewardship. Mom's voice shaky. That's just, she plays around with grapes. Richard, ma'am, the property generated $340,000 in documented revenue last year. It employs 8 full-time staff and 17 seasonal workers. It hosts educational programs for 1,400 annual visitors. The State Agricultural Commission has invested $47,000 in soil conservation grants for this specific parcel. Barton developer, we were told this was vacant land. Richard, you were told incorrectly. Moreover, the environmental impact report attached to this application is falsified. It claims no agricultural operations exist. This is demonstrably false and constitutes fraud against the county. The developer's attorney asked for a recess. Denied. Richard, I'm suspending this transaction indefinitely. I'm referring this matter to the district attorney for investigation of real estate fraud, forgery, and making false statements to government authorities. Ms. Torres has filed a criminal complaint. Title company, this closing is cancelled. The recording captured chairs scraping, my brother saying, "Oh God," my mother's voice. This is insane. We were helping her. But the part that stayed with me, the microclimax that made the whole thing worth it. Richard's final comment directed at the developer. Richard, Mr. Barton, I'm curious. Did you conduct any site inspection? Barton, we relied on the seller's representations. Richard, so you didn't visit the property? Didn't see the vineyards, the tasting room, the visitors? Barton, no. Richard, my daughter was married there 3 years ago. It's one of the most beautiful venues in the county. Hard to miss. The silence after that lasted 31 seconds, according to the timestamp. The district attorney's office moved quickly. They loved cases with clear documentation. Forged signatures on the sale documents. Handwriting analysis showed 98.7% certainty Mom had signed my name. The ink dating revealed documents supposedly signed months ago used ink released only 6 weeks prior. The procedural justice unfolded with systematic precision. Step 1. Forensic document analysis confirmed forgery within 72 hours. Step 2. The DA subpoenaed all communications. Mom's texts about unloading Emma's lot became exhibits. Ryan's email planning his Tesla purchase. Exhibit 12. Step 3. Barton Commercial filed their own complaint against my parents for fraudulent misrepresentation. They'd paid $50,000 in non-refundable due diligence costs. Step 4. The county levied $15,000 in fines for false governmental filings. Step 5. My attorney filed civil suit for damages, emotional distress, and attempted theft of property valued at $2.1 million. Actual appraised value, not Mom's rushed $800,000. Step 6. Criminal charges were filed. 2 felonies, forgery and real estate fraud. Step 7. The court granted my request for a restraining order. Mom, Dad, and Ryan were prohibited from coming within 500 feet of my property. Step 8. Unable to afford competent defense, they accepted a plea agreement. 5 years probation, $127,000 in restitution, including Barton's losses, county fines, and my legal fees, and 400 hours community service. Step 9. They appealed. Denied within 30 days. The consequences cascaded outward like ripples. Professional. Dad worked as a contractor. When word spread he'd attempted to steal and sell his daughter's property through forgery, 3 clients canceled projects. His business never recovered. Financial. The restitution payments were garnished directly from their income. They had to sell their house to cover Barton's lawsuit. They moved into a rental apartment 1/3 the size. Social. The local newspaper covered it. Parents attempt to sell daughter's award-winning vineyard through forged documents. The story was picked up regionally. My mother's book club stopped inviting her. Their church friends grew distant. Family. Ryan's girlfriend left him when she learned he'd planned to spend stolen money on a Tesla. He blamed me publicly on Facebook. I screenshot it for the civil case. I created the actual ghost ledger 3 months later. A spreadsheet titled, The cost of being seen. 8 years dismissed as dirt hobby. Cost equals professional credibility never recoverable. Father's living room, business plan in hand, his words, you'll embarrass yourself. Cost equals parental belief never earned back. Every family gathering where success was minimized. Cost equals belonging never felt again. Sister's wedding, cheap Prosecco served instead of my wine. Cost equals pride never acknowledged. Being excluded from successful family photo at Christmas. Cost equals dignity never restored. Mother's words, find a good husband, that's a woman's real investment. Cost equals maternal support never offered. The ledger ran 7 pages. Every dismissal, every minimization, every time they'd chosen their narrative over my reality. The final line read, total cost, family. Total recovery, self. 6 months after the court case concluded, I stood in the same spot where I'd received Mom's text. October again, harvest season. The grapes were perfect this year. The cab especially, deep and structured with the kind of complexity that takes years of careful farming to achieve. Carlos approached with the day's numbers. Brix levels are exceptional. Best vintage yet. We'd just been certified sustainable by the California Wine Institute. The State Agricultural Commission had featured us in their annual report. Next month we were expanding to 15 acres. I'd purchased the adjacent parcel. My phone buzzed. Mom's number. I'd never blocked it, though she was prohibited from visiting. I let it go to voicemail. Later I listened. Emma, please. Your father's struggling. Ryan lost his job. We made a mistake. We're family. Doesn't that mean anything? I thought about responding. Thought about explaining that family isn't who shares blood. It's who shows up when blood isn't enough. That I'd spent 8 years showing up with business plans, harvest invitations, award announcements, and they'd shown up with dismissal. But understanding this requires self-reflection they'd never demonstrated. Instead, I opened my laptop to the county assessor's website. Richard had approved my expansion permit that morning. 15 acres now. 3 new varietals planned. The tasting room renovation was scheduled for spring. I poured myself a glass of the 2023 Cabernet, the vintage they'd called my grape hobby. It had just won gold at the San Francisco International Wine Competition. The same week they'd tried to pave it. The restraining order had another 4 years. The restitution payments would continue for 3. Their probation prohibited them from engaging in any real estate transactions without court approval. I didn't delete Mom's voicemail. I saved it, labeled it consequences, and filed it with the others. From the window of my tasting room, the one they'd wanted demolished for parking spaces, I could see the whole valley. 12 acres of vines, now 15. The century-old oak tree where Richard's daughter had danced at her wedding. The terraced slopes that had taken years to perfect. They tried to sell my foundation. Instead they'd proven its worth. The account is closed. The balance is 0. And I am finally in the black.